New York is the quintessential metropolis, synonymous with multiculturalism, a modern melting pot of people and ethnic groups. New York is a hotbed of new trends that set the international pace for leisure, culture, and of course, gastronomy. It's home to some of the world's most influential gourmet experts. And here, in the city that never sleeps and where everyone's always in a hurry, the tapas concept fits like a glove. It's the ideal way for New Yorkers who are always on the lookout for novelty and quality to discover Spanish cuisine and its products.
It's a much easier time for anyone to open a tapas bar right now than it was 20 years ago. Number one, because the products are not here. Now we have 20 times the products that we had 20 years ago. Also, going forward, the American consumer and the American customer is a lot eager and a lot is ready. I mean, they understand the concept. They know what tapas is. When we opened a tapas restaurant 20 years ago, they thought it was topless. Topless meaning bars with ladies serving drinks without a top. So that was, we had to say, no, it's not a topless, it's a tapas restaurant. And it was just going over and over, just trying to explain what the concept, what the idea was.
Rufino Lopez is the owner of Solera, one of the oldest and most popular Spanish restaurants in New York. It opened 20 years ago in Midtown, near the Cervantes Institute. And since then, Rufino has witnessed how far New Yorkers' views on Spanish cooking have come along.
When we opened the restaurant, tapas were only served at the bar. And the true Spanish form, as we do it in Spain, tapas bar, the tapas are served at the bar, not in the dining room. So in the dining room, we serve appetizers, main courses, and desserts. And we had a lunch menu, we had a dinner menu, and we had a tapas menu. Last year, we decided to include all of them. Now we have tapas, we have appetizers, we have main courses, we have rices, so the offer is the same in the dining room as it is in the bar. And we had to adapt ourselves pretty much to this because a lot of our customers, they love having, the idea was maybe we just have 1 or 2 tapas on the bar and then move on to the dining room, but sometimes you have a group of 6 or 8 people and they like to sit down, they like to enjoy some of those little bites, some of those tapas, small, before they have a paella, or before they have a fish, or before they have some of the other cheeses or some of the other dishes. So we decided to, this format is working a little better, and I think people also, they're happier.
In the heart of the Chelsea neighborhood, the Worldwide Center for Contemporary Art is Chiquito Tapas Bar, a cozy place where Eder Montero and Alexandra Raiz, owners of El Quinto Pino restaurant next door, take publicizing the tapas tradition and Basque cuisine very seriously.
We met 11 years ago in a Spanish restaurant. That particular Spanish restaurant was promoting the idea of high cuisine, and they didn't have tapas. And the more I went back to Spain, the more I said, this custom, this tradition is, it defines the relationship of Spanish people to their food, to their products, and socially. And so to me it seemed that if you really wanted to bring a traditional cuisine that was unknown to New York, the best way to do that would be through tapas. And because it was tapas, it meant that we could give an overview of all the different regional cuisines throughout Spain and kind of create a trip around Spain, if you will, geographically through the traditional dishes as made in miniature.
The menus are not like the way they used to be like structured before, like appetizers or entrees and main course stuff. Like right now, it's everything is small or medium, or like, you know, like you can have shares or raciones or tapa, and that's the way you also, like, you can order many things at one whole time, and it's better for the customer because they can taste so many different things, and it's more, you know, that kind of like being polite about like trying somebody else's dishes. It's not your plate anymore, it's everyone's plate. So nobody feels shy of like picking up from the plate and taking a bite and stuff.
And we don't have the typical tapas that they've come to know. I mean, we do have croquetas and things like that, but we only have Basque dishes, and so here the expectation often is saffron. And you're not going to find saffron at Chiquito. It's, you know, it's not typical, and so we have a much more sort of restrictive menu. But what we do is we serve people whole rodaballos. We serve them idiazabal instead of manchego. We serve them piquillo peppers that have only been poached in olive oil for a long time, not stuffed necessarily with anything the way that they're used to getting it. We serve them salt cod, raw, cooked, al pil pil, which is like a very kind of challenging dish. for us, it made sense to go to the Basque Country first because we have a very special relationship with the Basque Country and their products. And I also think that the Basque cuisine is in stark contrast to this Mediterranean cuisine that people associate with Spain. So I think that by having a tapas restaurant across the street at El Quinto Pino and having Chiquito, we are able to show people the two sort of dominant images that people have when they go to Spain. There's the austerity of the Basque Country against the sort of vibrant, colorful products that are used in the south.
Also based in Chelsea, in a luxury hotel on Avenue of the Americas, otherwise known as 6th Avenue, is Bar Basque, a restaurant serving cutting-edge Spanish and Basque food.
Yo he estado involucrado con la compañía China Grill Management, que es una empresa de restaurantes. Tenemos 28 mundialmente con diferentes conceptos. Y hace 6 años le vendí la idea a mi jefe, Jeffrey Shadow, que por qué no abríamos un restaurante vasco en Nueva York. Y así es como pensamos cambiar un poco nuestro rumbo en lo que respectaba a conceptos culinarios. En Bar Basque elaboramos la cocina con ingredientes que se consiguen en los Estados Unidos, más los ingredientes que no se pueden conseguir los traemos directamente de España.
In the last few years, Spanish food products have become an increasingly popular sight in New York. The rise in olive oil sales was followed by a spectacular boom in the amount of cheese sold here. These days, local supermarkets stock Spanish specialties such as piquillo peppers, saffron, rice from Calasparra, Marcona almonds, chorizo, and even Serrano and Iberico cured ham. All these products are mostly supplied to the gourmet food sections in specialty shops and major supermarkets. By competing in quality rather than price, they are more able to survive fluctuations in currency exchange rates and tough competition. Whole Foods, the organic food supermarket chain with outlets across the entire United States, also stocks Spanish products for New York consumers to try. An example of this is its huge variety of cheeses from Spain.
Most of the customers come in because they love the product, that like the manchegos and like the capricho de cabra, things like that, both sheep and goat's milk. The manchegos that come out of the Spanish region tends to be like very flavorful, very nutty, depending on the age. Like we have a 6-month and 8-month raw milk and a 1 year. So, and it derives from different goat milks as well.
De España brand foods is a good example of a specialty food shop. De España, owned by Angelica Entriago and her husband, was a pioneer in importing and distributing Spanish products in the United States. For some time now, they've also been selling direct to consumers from their shop in the bustling Soho neighborhood.
So our story actually began as many immigrants coming in from Spain. The España brand food started in Queens as a small chorizo factory by Asturianos that came here 40 years ago and wanted to bring those flavors back and introduce them. So that's where our roots began. My husband took over the corporation 20 years ago and thought that there was more to be done. There were many new products coming in like piquillo peppers, angulas, many different cheeses that perhaps were unknown, and he thought, there's a business pull that could be done there. I think 11 years ago it was very difficult to bring in perhaps any type of meat product. We've seen Serrano maybe 15 years. That was introduced recently up to, I guess, 6 years ago, Iberico ham. So it's very difficult bringing anything that's meat. It still is. There are a lot of rules and regulations that are coming up with the food, food registrations and many things that kind of make it a little bit harder. But definitely the market has opened up. There's a lot of competition, a lot of American companies that have seen that there is a growth in the Spanish foods or foods from Spain. Because it is still confusing, Spanish food and foods from Spain. So we kind of try to say, this is made in Spain product. And we do see a greater pull, that we have a bigger variety of Serranos coming in. Iberico, we have one, but people are becoming much more knowledgeable. The cheese market has grown tremendously, I believe, in the last 11 years of cheese from Spain. And again, the tapas craze, of course. With the economic downside in New York, we saw a lot of people replicating tapas experiences at home. So they would shop for different things, croquetas, give me some tortilla, give me some cheese, and they do it at home, which is a way of also counterbalancing and replicating that at home, which is important. I think that's where you see, well, you know, it does work, especially in this market. So definitely. Tapas, adulterated a lot. What is tapas? I mean, you have many restaurants saying tapas, and what is it? But I think it is that pull that translates and inclusive to many cultures and different things that España or Spain brought to the table.
In just 10 years, the variety and sheer quantity of Spanish products has grown exponentially in the Big Apple. With more and more opportunities for publicizing Spanish cuisine, it's time to enjoy a tapas tour.